Well, a lot's happened in the past few months, and especially in the last weekend, last see, 3 days. Well, technically one day, but it's kind of like reeled over the whole weekend. So yeah, there's been a lot of you viewers have probably viewed some of my past video blogs and have heard of some of the issues I've been dealing with. I got over kidney stones recently, and after the kidney stones, um, like probably the very next week, I had internal bleeding from an ulcer. That was fun. So my body has been literally falling apart on me. So last week, actually technically week before last, um, the people I had been working for, well, person at this point, because person A was at home, person B was down in Texas working, or is down in Texas working. Person A said, hey, why don't you take, the week of the 17th through the 21st off? You know, go see your grandma, go see your mom, blah, 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 help them set up for the craft show, because last weekend was the annual Sand and Sawdust Festival in Ocean Shores. Biggest weekend of the year. And so I was like, okay. And that was one way to kill, a few birds with one stone, because I was pretty nervous with the arrival of my friend from the Netherlands. She is here in the States. And at that point in time, I was really nervous to confront her because we got into a bit of a, I wouldn't call it a pissing match, but there were some serious disagreements where we needed a break. And we didn't see eye to eye. So I wanted to get away, and, I guess Sam wanted some alone time. I'm not really quite sure exactly why she suggested it. It was actually a little on the random side. I was very surprised, actually, that she suggested that. So I said, sure, why not? Might as well get a break in while I can. That, and I was able to avoid, said friend. And so it was also a good chance to try and de-stress. So I left a day early. I left on the 16th, the evening of the 16th. And last bit of communication I had with person A was Sunday to let her know, hey, I arrived at my destination, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. So there were some important events happening on the 18th, which happened. And, I had seen something posted on Facebook. I said, hey, what's up? What's with this? And ever since Sunday evening when I had let them know, hey, I arrived safely, I had absolutely no contact. I kept sending them texts and so on and so forth, and I was being outright ignored. I mean, granted, it was vacation time, but kind of want to check in with a friend, don't you? I don't know, whatever. The thought crossed my mind that she probably wanted to be left alone, so for a little while I decided not to attempt to make contact because I was being ignored. I had attempted to make contact and was being ignored. So, yeah. Well, Friday comes along, I pack up, and I start driving home, and I get into a car accident. I was being tailgated by a blue, what looked to be a Nissan Frontier, about 2007 year model, I believe. Guy was on my ass. I could not see their license plate in my rearview mirror, and that's when you're too close. So we hit stop and go traffic just outside of Nisqually, right there hitting the Pierce County, Thurston County line. Hit stop and go traffic northbound I-5. Yeah, they rear-ended me, bumped me into the person in front of me, which was a 2006 black Hyundai Ezra. And the Ezra and I got out of the lane of traffic, and right after I got out of the lane of traffic, the blue truck decides to hit me again. And I'm sitting here looking out my front windshield as they're passing by, dudes flipping me off. It was a fucking hit and run. Ooh. Anyway, so this being my first accident, I was really shaken up. In my 6 years of driving, this was my very first accident. I made quite a few blunders. My mother definitely made me well aware of that. Not in any sort of mean or malicious manner, but she did definitely make me aware of that. So, yeah, stupidity on my part. I don't know how things will turn out with the accident. Thankfully, there were no injuries. Minor damage to both cars. I don't know about my car, though. I have an additional sound in my engine now. It almost makes me sound like I'm in a very quiet helicopter. So it's like, boom, 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 as, I'm going along, and I'm in a front wheel drive. So, my front axle is pretty important. That's beside the point. So, no pictures were taken. We exchanged information. I can't remember if we introduced ourselves or not. They had a paint smudge. It actually turned out to be the imprint of my front license plate on their back bumper. I have a piece of the tab from the person who rear-ended me and ran, but it's not enough to say anything. Paint smudge on the back end. The front end, the bumper is down about an inch, inch and a half, maybe 2 inches. There is a crack, obvious damage to the engine, as I mentioned before. I did suffer whiplash, still kind of a little stiff in the shoulders, but most of the pain was on Saturday. Thankfully, the pain was only on one day. An hour after the accident, I got to Graham, where I had been staying for the past 6 months and off and on for a year, only to get out of the car, see my friend from the Netherlands, and the other friend, and then person A comes around the corner and says, "You need to pack up and leave immediately." And I'm all dumbstruck. My friend from the Netherlands, she apologized to me in person, said she was wrong. She said something she shouldn't have, which I agree. I accepted the apology. I'm completely fine with it. In fact, to be quite honest, the comment that she made that she was apologizing about, I actually just completely ignored. I did. Because I've had that comment one too many times in my life, and it's just another drop in the bucket, So, yeah. I was told to pack up and leave. So, therein, I pretty much lost my job and lost my home. I had to impose on my mother on the busiest weekend of Ocean Shores, San Ensadas weekend. So, right after the show closed for that day, my mother and my sister came up here with the van so I could put stuff in the van and haul it all out in one go. Yeah. And that's a 2.5 hour drive because you've got the half an hour you're spending on either Pacific or Meridian just to get to 512. And then the 2 hours from 512 to out here on the beach. Safe to say it was a difficult night. I still haven't really emotionally put everything together. Um, I'm still pretty lost as to why. Supposedly, um, they're supposed to talk to me um, about the many reasons of why I was told to pack and go. One of the reasons being that I can't get along with the husband, and it made things awkward when she talked on the phone with husband. And yeah. Um there is a feeling of betrayal considering the husband and I had actually reached our own agreement that no matter what happened, my living situation would not be compromised. I have it recorded on Skype of that conversation. And I had told him and I promised him that his wife would never suffer for anything that happened between him and I. I would not do wrong by his wife because of him. So we had a mutual understanding and agreement that this would not happen and this would not happen. It was a mutual agreement. So I do feel betrayed. But surprisingly, I'm not reacting like I normally do when I am betrayed. Ah, thankfully, my friend from the Netherlands and my other friend were there. Even though unspoken other friend's name probably does not like me and won't for quite a while, I have nothing against them. I wanted to talk things out in person. I don't know if this makes any sort of sense to anybody, but these two individuals, I've known them so far only on the internet. And I deal a lot better with face to face interactions. Um, so the issues that had been bugging me, I couldn't really resolve here very much because there was no personable interaction, there was no physical interaction. So during this whole shenanigan of, having to pack my stuff and leave, I had a discussion with the two. Um, well, the person who had told me to pack up and leave went inside the house and was doing her own thing. I'm having stomach spasms at the moment. Um, so I needed to talk about the issue just momentarily. I was not trying to be confrontational. I was trying to be matter of fact and level headed. The start of the conversation did not go very well. Unspoken friend uh, made a few snide comments in an antagonizing manner, trying to rile me up and make the situation worse. I did backfire a little, once or twice, but I did my best to keep my composure. Conversation went well. Agreement is that situation is going to be dropped. I'm content now with the situation. We have talked in person. I have been able to reach my own sort of closure, if that makes any sense. So I now feel better about leaving the situation alone and just forgetting it. Um, so that situation, I hopefully believe is behind us. I don't know about Unspoken Friends' view on it. If they're going to move on, then I'll move on. You know, if they act nasty toward me, I guess I'll just remain not speaking with them. But good thing is throughout the rest of the evening, what I had to get out of the house itself had to be supervised. So two friends and I went inside. I packed my stuff, and there were I don't exactly remember the conversation offhand, but there was something where person A was not trusting me, surprisingly enough, which I find a little bit childish and stupid, and which is why both the other friends actually had a really good point. Person A has trusted me with her children for quite a while now, and she's not trusting me to take my stuff and leave. What sense in there is that? So I just kept my mouth shut while, they were talking and actually sticking up for me, which is not something I'm actually very used to. I'm not used to people sticking up for me. So that was a pretty good feeling. I almost want to cry due to that. I'm not going to. Yeah. So I don't know. It was nice to actually have people stand up for me and believe in me and have faith in me, despite the fact. Oh God, I'm gonna cry. Despite the fact that unspoken friend's name and I were kind of on rocky terms, they still stood up for me. They vouched for me. Um, I can't even begin to put my gratitude into words for that. Oh fuck. Uh, I hope that through this situation that we can start talking again, maybe start over. I don't know. Uh, there's a lot of firsts that I've faced in the last year, and this was definitely one of them. Having people stick up for me and vouch for me and shit. Oh, this is embarrassing. Oh, calm down, calm down. I did it again. Apparently, a famous trait of mine is doing this. Apparently, I do that, and it's a gesture habit of mine. That was pointed out by one of the friends I've been talking about in this whole video. I'm not gonna blow my nose on video. Heck no. I had to take a moment there. So I hope that this friend and I can start over, I guess, new. I don't know. They happily said that they don't like me, but they're vouching for me and sticking up for me anyway, and, not to put them under the bus and break their trust, which I'm not going to. There's no reason for me to. There's nothing to gain in it. And it's, I've still got my honor and pride. Pride might be a bit of a downfall, but it's one of the only things I can rely on, I guess. But, so, yeah, Friday was a pretty bad day. Car accident, getting kicked out, losing my job. Had Sand and Sawdust Festival all weekend, had to pack up on Sunday, though I wasn't required to go and take down, which was kind of a surprise. And there's a fly. ADHD, woo! Today being Monday, things have been rather quiet, surprisingly. Though this morning I woke up and I was in an extreme amount of pain in this joint right here, but on the palm side. And so I've put myself in a makeshift splint. I have part of a popsicle stick here and part of a popsicle stick here with medical tape, keeping it all together and, braced. And even though it's bruised and the pain hasn't gone away at all, I'm keeping it from hurting worse by actually using it. Um, I put together the flute. I managed to put together a makeshift cleaning thing to clean out the inside, which was very much needed. It was very dusty and gross on the inside. It needed help. Um, Polishing will come later, but I think I need to replace a key and get an actual, true, honest to God, flute cleaning kit as well as joint lube for this because you got to put the pieces together. Sounds great, works great. Problem is I have not played the flute since 2001 into 2002 because that was the year I switched from band to choir. So I am seriously out of practice, like seriously out of practice. So I need to see about either looking on the internet or going to Roosevelt's in Aberdeen and getting a starter book to learn which keys or what notes. I still know enough music that I know the notes, what they represent, blah, 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 treble clef, blah, 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 anything. Anyway, but actually working the keys and knowing what keys or what notes is going to be the interesting part. So I have to actually relearn how to play the flute. Other than that, I'm back in my old room. It's a lot cleaner and I've made more space. I have my nice soft bed back, which I've actually been able to sleep without moving for once. I've spent the last 6 months tossing and turning in the beds I've been in, so it's been very interesting. I have to get used to not having the greatest internet again. And I have a lot of yard work ahead of me. Holy fuck. The front yard? Freaking 3 feet tall grass. No joke. I will take pictures. If not, set my computer up to have a video out there. So many of you can see the war I must wage. Not to mention the blackberry bushes that cover 80% of the property. And then you have your salmonberry bushes. In fact, I've actually picked a few salmonberries. I don't know if I left some of them in the fridge. I'll have to go get them. But yeah, there's already been some strawberry, or not strawberries, but salmonberries that have been able to be picked. Salmonberries are a lot like blackberries, only they're orange and they're not as sweet. They're still good. They're still edible, just not sweet. They're not a sweet berry. But they're not a sour berry. They're more of a bland berry. So, but yeah, so that's been the state of affairs. I've totally missed pretty much every single Pride this year, which has been a disappointment. I've been a little sad, but then again, what's the use in going to Pride alone? I have no friends, I have no lover. Well, I do have friends. It's just none of them are really here to go with me, to hang out, go places, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah. I don't see the use in going to an event that I'm all alone. Might sound pretty childish of me, and people would sit there and say, well, hey, that's the perfect chance to make friends, but I don't have very good social skills, so I am rather shy and leery of starting a conversation with some random stranger. Usually it's they started with me first, and I just respond back, and usually things go good that way, but, I'm normally kind of intimidating to most people, so, what the heck. Anyway, I am going to go for now. I'm gonna further distract myself with more anime. Watch the new Ghost in the Shell anime episodes. Freaking Ghost in the Shell Arise takes place before Kusanagi joins Section 9. It's gonna be awesome. And I'd be making a true fist if I wasn't in a brace. Ha ha ha. Yeah, anyway. So, that's pretty much been it. Sorry for the lack of updates. I'm going to try and be a little more consistent with my updates. So, hey, all's good. And, yeah, see you later, guys.